Hey, ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Colin Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And you know what time it is? It's Steel Division 44, or
Oh
Normandy
boy.
44 for that matter. Man, it's been a long week for having me. So, Rang, it's Bois de l'Amour, and what do we have today?
Well, on the left hand side, we have our good old Jabroni as the
He's
4th Armored Division, my dude. And on the right hand side, we're just gonna have a bit of a light rare over here. Nothing too medium, nothing overcooked, just light rare. Playing as the lightly armored 91st Luftlander Division.
hopefully he won't bleed too much. But have you seen this particular lineup just yet?
Matchup?
Luftlander versus the fourth?
No, this is the first time I have actually seen this matchup against one another, so rather interesting. We got a DLC nation versus a base game nation, so we'll see how that ends up faring.
Now, how do you assume that might go? I mean, looking
Hmm.
already, we're seeing that not a ton of initial armor coming out from the fourth armored. Was that a second Scott coming in? Nope, just one Scott. He's just having some issue trying to figure that out. How's the early game going to go?
Well, I know it's going to be interesting because they're both pretty aggressive in A phase, and just looking at economy, it's very similar throughout the entirety of the match. The Forest, I think, is really going to be a 50-50 because even though Feldjägers and Ersatz Troopen are pretty decent, there's just no close range capability until he gets maybe B phase where he could have some pioneers. The field area is where I'd really think 4th Armoured would have a good time using their light vehicles such as M8 Cavalry and M8 Scott tanks to just push through. Because the lovely thing is, Luftlander doesn't really have any tanks of their own, so just using these small fire support tanks where they're better against infantry is definitely going to prove to be quite useful.
At the same time, though, wouldn't you think that maybe the smaller sight lines, especially on the Luftland kind of side of the map, I'm talking about, I would say, central to the bottom part of the map as we're
Hmm.
looking at it right now, wouldn't that kind of tilt the close in engagements back in the Luftland direction,
Yeah,
especially early on?
yeah, especially in defense. You're correct about yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a Pack 36, and I believe a Russian artillery gun, which also acts as an anti-tank weapon. So putting them in good defensive locations will
Hmm.
allow you to get that initial first shot. But if the enemy tank's meant to get first shot, goodbye AT gun. So it's really about using your infantry to screen in front of you, and then bringing in the tanks afterwards to finish up the job.
Now, I'm not going to suggest that we can fully game this theory out, but
Hmm.
say this was a 16th Luftland, which is the more flexible deck to deal with the fourth armor? Just, as you wait for both players to kind of get themselves
Uh,
finally set up.
I'd say 91st Loftlander, just due to the fact you actually have some sort of ground presence, or a bit better ground presence, I'd say, not just completely reliant on anti-air. Uh, Infantry, you mainly got the Feldjägers, which are quite bloody good. I know Luft, like the Luft Ruffle deck, I keep calling it Luft Ruffle. It's a good deck. It's pretty fun, but it's rather gimmicky with the whole infantry playing. Every time I see it, and as we saw in the last match in the mountain on the hill,
Hmm.
it's really hard to push with the Luftwaffe deck. Extremely hard. Because your infantry's slow, they get suppressed easily, don't really have any tanks or vehicles or fire support. It's all down to airplanes. They're great on the defense, but on the offense, not so much. 91st Luftwaffe, I'd say fares a much better time on the offense, as they do have good infantry that can take damage as well as just good artillery pieces, so on and so forth.
You were talking about how, well, at least in my mind, you were kind of intimating how really looking at Jabroni early on, we're probably going to see some aggression.
Hmm.
Looking at the way the forces are deployed right now, I can't help but feel that but the southern side of this map is going to be pretty much Luftland the entire way.
Uh, well, we do see quite a bit of infantry. I'm noticing one Feldjäger, Kuborn, and an Ersatz. I know that Southern seems much more of a defensive force. Some guys get into the town and put your AT and artillery gun in the forest just to defend. I'm seeing quite a lot up north here. I believe two Feldjägers and one leader squad, as well as a
Hmm.
bunch of Ersatz troop into screen array. And just as long in that forest fight, he can kind of stay in more of those open areas, use machine guns to get in close range. He's gonna have a damn good time.
Very true. Now, you were saying about the South about putting the anti-tank down there. I think we're gonna yep, actually, no, we're gonna get started. So let's maybe not worry too much about that. As we're opening up, we actually are gonna see that Light Rare is not going to play Light Scared. No, he's actually moving actually rather aggressively posturing.
Yeah, it's gonna be caking that southern like choke point area on the map, which is a very important place to hold, and maneuvering a lot of his infantry just to cover the entire northern flank of the forest.
Well, and that's the thing I think I was trying to figure out is to see how much he would put in that stand of trees at the southern end of that line. He's not putting a whole lot there technically. But that, I guess I was thinking to myself, put a machine gun there, put an anti-tank gun to either cover north or to cover along the road, and maybe one infantry squad to kind of shift back and forth.
Yeah, but light res is very. If you just look in the middle, yeah, there's hardly anything. Yeah, I don't really think much. Yeah, hardly anything is going to that middle sector. And Jabroni, if he could do a breakthrough, realize that it's completely undefended, I can see his peak being brought out. Just a good little light armored push could do some immense damage.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. So the Jeep 30's coming on out, but the Penta up fail. He's probably gonna get a shot off. Yep.
Boom.
Doesn't quite take him out. He might get another
Oh.
shot in. No, probably not.
Nope. Damn, that's. I thought he blew him up for a second, but that's a very lucky Jeep.
And by the way, so actually 4 more squads being sent to the north. So yeah, Light Rare is not going to give up on this forest very easily. And indeed, look, oh my God, look at that line right there.
Yeah, it's the Earthhouse Troop and Faultjäger combo, always an A+ strategy. Especially just because Earthhouse Trooping can take the brunt of any potential grenades or SMG fire for the Faultjägers are coming and clearing the job. But I do like seeing this mortar piece. Is that a mortar or an IG-18?
I think it's probably going to be an IG-18, I'm guessing.
Yeah, either one. I hope it's a mortar because a mortar would be damn useful in that forest.
No, never mind. You're probably right on that one. I think because Kubel doesn't carry out the IG, does it?
No. I think if it was an IG, you could see the thing on behind. But too bad we can't actually look inside the vehicles, Khan.
Yeah.
Too bad. We just have to keep making guesses. But southern side starting to light up.
Indeed. I'm happy you brought that up. It does look actually the Germans seem to be falling back a little bit here. This Pack 40 seems to be in a very ill-considered place, but he's moving it forward along this tree line, trying to hug the edge there. And I can't really assume that's going to go particularly well. It'll take forever and a day to get into the fight.
Yeah, and even then, he's still just going to be in medium cover instead of heavy cover, so it's not exactly going to fare too well. But yeah, just the lone M3 A1 and the M8 cavalry just doing a great job forcing the Luftwaffe player back.
Indeed. Now in the north, though, we are going to see Jabroni is not really being that aggressive, and I think that's going to be a bit of a mistake. Even having the Scot do some indirect fire, just kind of lofting rounds down the road, might have been a good idea to at least kind of put some pressure out. Instead, we're just seeing Light Rare just kind of calmly shift on forwards. His troops are not taking any kind of real fire.
I mean, the rifles, compared to Ersatz Troop and CQC, absolutely destroy them. Semi-automatic rifles, of course. Faultjägers, I think, be a bit more even, because the Faultjägers can only do 6 HE, while, oh damn, the rifles outdamage the Faultjägers and CQC too, so... If he can get in close, just get the rifles in, start moving through, he can do a good job with that forest. And like you said before, the M8's got good fire support capability. And also the cavalry scouts are pretty good CQC too. I forgot about him.
Also very true. Now we are going to see that in the middle part of the field now. Light Rare's got absolutely nothing. There's nothing between. Oh, he's slowly bringing up some infantry squads now, but he lost a very solid recon squad. And I kind of never really remember how incredibly good they actually are. Those spot troops, what they have the 2 FG-42s and then what the MP-40s for close range, don't they?
Yeah, it's 2 MP-40s through FG-42s. It's a lovely squad, not just because it's a 4-man squad with some advanced weaponry, but the veterancy really makes up for it. So fighting like 2-man squads and even some like cavalry scouts and whatnot at long range, you can actually hold your own rather well.
I can tell you what can't hold their own. Ooh, Pack 40 does take out with the Southern M8 Scott, and that half-track does have a damaged transmission. So it turns out we might have been wrong here, that Pack 40 is just going to continue creeping on forwards and might just get a couple of lucky rounds here and there.
It's too bad that Pack 36 cannot actually get into a good position. It keeps getting stunned up here by the rifles.
And that's actually going to make a comment on next. I don't like where these Fallschirmjägers are.
Oh, yeah. I can
along the road. That seems like a kind of a waste. And indeed, shifting this IG-18 right back into the force instead of just getting right into the fight and just start laying down a barrage. I think that's also a big mistake here.
I think he's just keeping the Fouchagers back because he's worried about M301 half track and other fire support to light them up. But I know what you mean, because as you see, the rifles are completely suppressed in just a few volleys of MG42 fire. Or MG34, my bad.
In the north, we are going to see the M8 Scots starting to get into the action here. As well, though, this 50 mil mortar is going to start laying down some firepower, and Cavalry Scots begin a tentative push inside this forest, and it's not going to go well for them.
Nah, they're completely outnumbered. Even though they can beat most of these guys in a run-and-run fight, it's probably not going to be a run-and-run fight. Okay, now he's moving up the Earthhound's trooping, and he needs more infantry in this southern forest area to really be able to make a push or start lobbing some mortar rounds at Ray, which is exactly what he's doing.
That's true. That's true. But actually, kind of surprised I'm not seeing the 50 mil mortar from the Germans. No, yep, there you go. He's going to try to put some counter battery fire down the 60 mil. So expect to see that go into action pretty darn quickly. LMG rifles to the south, doing pretty well, forcing some spot troops to get out early, and it looks like Jabroni might be trying to get a somewhat revived push out here to the south. I'm not sure how well it's going to go, though.
Yeah, he really needs to try just backing up his LMG rifles in his middle here and try to make something happen now, because there's not really much here. We got a Stu-42, and I did see two Panzer 35Rs. Oh god, two Panzer 35s. But I know even just one tank like an the M4 Abrams or just M8 Cavalry can really deal with all its light armor. The Stu can't exactly kill any tanks. Well, it can almost kill a tank. I think we've seen it kill a tank once.
I was going to say, it should be able to take out that M8 Cavalry pretty darn quickly. I mean, the thing's not open top, but nevertheless. And actually, I'm surprised to think that right now we're actually only seeing the Axis gain a 52-48 right now, trying to make up the points difference that kind of hit them from that initial, let's say, barren middle that they had.
Yeah, and now he's finally got something, yeah. Earthhound's trooping up. It's something at least, and they're just holding the line. That's all you really need him to do, but he's slowly getting a very nice plus run, and really his attack in the forest is going rather well. In all the way in the far north, he could do maybe a bit more aggression, yeah.
To at least pick that off, because right now he's just lost himself that Pack 38, I always want to say. 36. Pack 36. And really, that can't happen. He's got to take out that Scott. He's got to be able to push back those two WC-52s. I mean, that's an important piece in the north.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems with Luftland is they don't really get any tanks, especially in A phase. So that one Scott, unless he can bring in that Fouchager close to get the Panzerfaust, it's going to be a pain in the butt. It doesn't seem to be the case as Scott spots it and Scott destroys it, pinning down the Fouchagers very quickly.
Indeed. Now, speaking of the W, you're talking about Abrams, and Abrams is now coming into the southern part of the battle space. And while that's going to be excellent for him, there is still this pack, and he's still definitely hungry for some more to eat, I'm thinking.
Yeah, but, the Pack 40, yeah. I was about to say, the Pack 36 is going to have a very hard time cheering in. It's going to have a very hard time cheering into Atmil, but yeah, that Pack 40 is going to be scary. Just look at its position. It can shoot it as it comes down the road. And it's just...
And actually, look where that Crichton... Oh, no, never mind. So Crichton Abrams is not going to the middle part of the space. He's like, you know what? I'm thinking better of this for right now. And that M8 is actually bailed out as well. So things continuing to look rather negative for our 4th armored player.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. I'm thinking once you're getting to B phase, if we're talking about B phase right now, if he can do the Stuart spam, because we all know the Stuart spam is pretty damn powerful. You can get 2 Stuarts per minute for the 4th armored, and especially against a Luftlander deck, where they don't really have that much in terms of armor. Just having a bunch of light tanks all over the place, especially in this middle area of map, would just do wonders.
Now, remind some of our viewers, in terms of infantry for the 4th armored, considering the amount of guys we've seen already, does this mean that Jabroni's going to be hurting for foot soldiers later on, or no?
Probably not. You can get quite a lot of armoured rifle troops that have veterancy, as well as engineers, I believe. And the engineers are definitely going to help out if he does have them in his deck in his forest fight, as they do have those satchel charges. But 4th armoured infantry is really quite solid. You get a very nice selection. It's a nice mix between 2nd infantry and 3rd armoured.
That sounds about right. And I mean, that's exactly what we expect out of Georgie's boys now, don't we?
That's true. That's very true.
high voice braggadocio, but can definitely fight those little.
Yeah, lead
Yep,
lead the way.
indeed. So that northern kind of infantry collection, let's call them,
Mm-hmm.
is slowly getting kind of worn away. We see more and more rifles moving on in. Now, these particular rifles, these are not the LM ones at the BARs. So
Mm-hmm.
does this mean that the northern, extreme northern flank for the Germans is not going to get picked on off, or is it just going to be just I don't again the only term I can think of is worn away.
Well, the rifles are honestly in the CQC area. Having the
Hmm.
bar isn't that big of a detriment because you're not really going to be having that long range engagement. Just the manpower and the amount of semi-automatic rifles make up for that.
Hmm.
Because as we see, these rifles going up to the Feldjägers, they're in 300-meter range. They can start putting down pretty good suppressive fire, and they just completely outnumber it. You can get 2 rifles for 1 Feldjäger essentially.
Hmm.
So it's just, yeah, it's just going to completely riddle Ray's northern flank, and yeah, it seems like Jabroni's starting to take a bit more of the
Oh,
initiative in the north.
indeed. In fact, look, he's even taken out some of the threats to him in the south as well. That Pack 40 is gone. I could not tell
Hmm.
you what killed it. My guess is probably a mortar round or two.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and indeed, with that, all we have is this brave 35 Rs just kind of marauding around the front part of this map, and that's not going to go well with it. With what looks like a anti-tank gun coming in right now too.
yeah. Is that a 6-pounder? The opposite
Yep.
6-pounder. So yeah, that's gonna be into a rather good position. Yeah, it seems like Jabroni really needs to start making a push. He does have the units to make a push right now and start gaining some ground. It's just about wherever he wants to do it, because there's quite a bit of map control he needs to take back, and his southern middle sector really seems to be the place you want to go for.
Now I'm kind of interested to see whether or not this 35R can take a shot to take out the Scott, or if it's going to start to engage this M8 instead. Because the M8's coming on in, he's going to get that first shot off, and that's just going to not be great. If he hits the 35R, it's pretty.
Yeah,
But
one
no,
thing
shooter knocked out. So the tracks are broken. But you know what? I'd rather have my tracks broken than my shooter knocked out for another 4 seconds.
exactly, and Rogue it's funny. Okay, never mind. He does
Oh.
get killed. It's I mean, it is a very pretty lightly armored tank, so even just 50 cal rounds
Hmm.
do quite a bit of damage. I think it was the M8 cavalry that got the kill. Yeah.
It was. It was.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah,
But
it's
with that
just,
happening, oh my gosh, these poor pioneers cannot stand up to firepower of that magnitude.
mhm.
And dear God, it's like Animal Akbar all over the place. They have to fall back.
God, so all those, I bloody love the traces in this game. It almost looks like Star Wars.
Well, it's an odd sort of beauty to it,
Hmm.
really. By the way, Fallschirmjägers to the north, rifles are pinned down. Is there actually a rifle leader in the area?
Yup.
Just barely
Oh,
touching that. That's a beautiful placement right there.
yeah. And they're just
Uh,
gonna barely holding on as the second rifle squad comes in to reinforce, and that Feldjäger almost pinned down. And once the pin down happens, yeah, those Feldjägers be pretty much buggered. And we got the M8 Scott in WC-52 on the flank to stop anyone from running a ray.
Now there isn't really, as much as we were going to say that they have a little bit of out there, and there's the pin. But I was going to say they have been able to take somebody with them into the great beyond, taking out one rifle squad.
Hmm.
Even as the rest of these Germans just kind of continue to hop up further and further into this forest, I am actually shocked. By the way, Stu went down. Um, Shocked to see how aggressive Light Rare has been, and really how well it's gone for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's using a lot of good infantry, very good infantry pushes. The anti-tank placement has been pretty solid, especially that Pack 40. And really, in this like southern area of the northern forest, he's been pretty much uncontested. I mean, just a few Feldjägers, Grenadiers, and Earthhouse Trooping are holding on, and nothing really attacking him. At the same time, he doesn't really have much to deal with that M8 Scott roaming around that northern forest, or with the Abrams just south of him. So we really need to bring up an anti-tank gun or some sort of anti-tank weaponry, like a Fly in Pack 40, for example, to
Mm-hmm.
knock out those threats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I believe the B3 is a Pack 40 gun, right? That's modified.
Essentially.
Okay, it's like an auto-loaded thing, I know.
It's essentially a pack 40. So,
Okay.
interestingly enough, though, we also see a cat kind of sharpen its claws, but not from the Germans, from the American side, as a Hellcat actually comes onto the field. And I'm surprised to see that so early.
I'm actually thinking that's a pretty like play because you can get those things on A phase.
That's true. I mean, like, I would be surprised even to bring it in until you see. I mean, you've just taken out your Enemishtu,
Mm-hmm.
which means that he doesn't have much in terms of actual tanks. You have the Abrams on the field. You have the Scott, even to kind of pressure back any kind of stroke play. I would be feeling that bringing in, an M4A1s, he's going for the upgun Shermans instead of the Stewarts.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking that bringing in the Hellcat's actually not a liability, but you could be using those points a little more effectively.
Okay, I see what you mean, because there's nothing really heavy that he needs to really kill, and even though the Hellcat does have a nice 76mm cannon, it only has 10 shots. And
It's only 3 HE for that matter, too.
Yeah, and like I said before, Stuart, just the Stuart play for 4th Armored is absurd, and this is definitely the deck that you want to be using that Stuart play against.
True. 35R, by the way, goes on down. I think that was because, not the Hellcat.
It was a Sherman.
Thank you. There we go. So my question is to see whether or not we will have this FK-39 come into play as an anti-tank platform.
Yeah, I mean, it is in a pretty decent anti-tank spot. You know, you may want to actually move it.
Here we go, aligning. Oh. Shot's going to come out of that Sherman. If he hits it, that thing's pretty much toast.
Yeah.
But not happening just yet. Instead, yep, go ahead, please.
It's a fairly decent anti-tank gun, considering 110 points for 11 AP, as well as an actual artillery gun. That's pretty absurd.
What's more, we're going to see B3 coming on in, but nope. Oh. He's just coming in for a quick look, and he's just going to fall right back.
The 50 cal AA net is too strong.
Shockingly.
Yep.
Shockingly. And right now, this Hellcat is just barely not being seen. Oh, actually, now he can be seen. So the question, okay, if the Hellcat gets the round and takes the hit, then that is the kill. I was expecting perhaps just a different approach than that. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please, go ahead.
I know, it's just a good force in this middle sector now. Like, he has the LMG rifles, he has the tanks, he has the recon. Now he just moves, just keep on moving up. You got the fire support. You don't have to worry about really anything that the Luft player can bring up. If anything, bro, he is starting to buy some actual AA units now because, his one major threat against the Luftlander is the potential airplanes that can be brought out, especially those flying B3s.
Indeed. Now, he's got to be lucky, though, the fact that those B3s are not the ones that dropped the 28, bombs down, but nevertheless, that's kind of still the short end of the stick to be the Americans on the receiving end of that kind of firepower, too.
Yeah.
So, up in the north, by the way, the Germans have made a new push. A couple of squads of Pioneers, a new Fallschirmjäger squad. And this really could wrap up the northern U.S. flank if they're not careful, though we are seeing some more infantry being thrown into the mix.
But once again, it just comes down to those 50 cal Jeeps and the M8 Scots on the field, because they pretty much the German forces have to hide in that forest. They can't really make too much of a push, and just all these rifles at close range, they beat out the German infantry, except for the Pioneers, of course. And just with all this overwhelming fire support available, I think the Americans could clean this up.
And that artillery piece gets pinned down. That's a bit of a pity there, but he's able to fall back, and I guess that's the important thing. Black 36, in the meantime, is going to entertain those half-tracks a little bit, make sure that they don't continue to cause too much of an issue for the Germans. But you're right, that middle part is definitely flying in the face of the German lines. Wow, that's a battle of the Bulge indeed, but it's not the Germans that are being so successful.
And that's not good, because that's just a single LMG rifle, and I'm thinking for light rare, he really needs to start bringing out some more anti-tank. We got the B3 coming in, gets Abrams. There we go.
What's he aligning on now, though? He's going after that Hellcat. That's all should really take a couple of rounds.
Yeah,
there's another one. He's falling back, but geez,
he's paid himself off here, so that's a good B3 run.
And the M4-105 being brought on in instead as well. Also going to see a Lightning making a very opportunistic run, but between the Flak 36, so as the ME-109, that's not going to go very well. In fact, I would be surprised if the Lightning makes it out.
Yeah, I doubt it. That Messerschmitt is right on his tail.
And Lightning does, in fact, hit the ground.
Like lightning.
Indeed. But the question is, will it strike twice? M8 Scott, by the way, completely out of MG ammo. So if the Germans can get lucky enough to move on in and be rather opportunistic, they could take it out. But again, he's used a very good percentage of his actual munitions, so
Yep.
that's not too shabby already.
I mean, that's some Russian tactics, yeah. Wait for the enemy to run out of ammo and then try to attack.
Yeah, but when you have no real tanks of your own,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do there, right?
Yeah, but I don't know, if you had like a Pack 36, a Stug in the middle, and in the northern forest, he needs some sort of armor, because this is the main reason why he's failing his northern attack. Or a mortar, just something. I mean, he has a mortar, but it's out of ammo.
Well, he's bringing a martyr in right now, and can we also note just really how much incredible firepower these Panzer Abwehr squads have too? Dear God. But having a martyr being brought on in, so not a lot of damage necessarily immediately to tanks. He's not going to have a great amount of visibility here, but he will help clean up this bit of that American push in the center part of the field.
Yep.
And indeed, that might almost bring things back to 50-50, which is pretty impressive. Again, still, that light rare has held the point advantage for as long as he has.
I mean, he just has... I mean, the Mortar 2 is definitely going to set up a pretty good defensive line, and really on the southern flank, going around that choke point is usually a death sentence for most players. And I do want to note, we do have a Stug 3 being brought into that northern forest, and a Flak 88, there we go. So some heavy firepower on this northern flank.
But now we are into phase C as well, though, too, so the 4th Armored really is... no longer has the economy advantage, but really should have the armor advantage. I'm surprised they're not just ramming it down the airborne's throat.
We do. Oh, we got an airborne P-38 Lightning, so it will be striking twice, but this time with 230 kilogram bombs on a Mortar 2. Will they get the
But
kill, yo?
if he hits, I would be surprised, but,
Nope.
you know.
Bit off.
Very lightly indeed, too. So, looking at the south, actually, we're seeing that the American infantry is getting pounded quite a bit, and this Field Kanone Nonundreizig, well, is continuing to cause quite a bit of an issue for the Americans. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that Jabroni is not getting a much more effective assault happening here. He's got the 105 Sherman.
Yep.
He's got the mortar. He's got the M20 to increase all the experience in the area as well. He's got an upgun Sherman. I'm surprised he's just not being more aggressive here.
Yeah, I mean, he has a disposable half track, so he could just rush down the road, just spot important units. But yeah, he could be much more aggressive at the moment. Another move up his rifle squad in front of the Sherman, and he could take you out a bend of the road, which once you get past the bend, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Very, very accurate. Now, this Pac 38 is kind of moving on forward. I think he's trying to get a line on that Sherman, but not going to quite be able to do that. And I think he finally hurt us because the Southern forces are really starting to get kicked, not so much into high gear, but at least into some sort of gear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing a lot of attack moves all over the place, trying to get into, or trying to get past that initial tree line, essentially. And it's just not much here from the Germans now. We got Fallschläger, Pack 38, and there's this free gun. Okay, now we got a Mortar 2 and like some command infantry, but I feel like he's going to need something a bit more substantial.
A bit of a shock to me that B3 was not able to properly aggress and address that MGMC. I think he's going to pay for it with his life now as both German planes are forced to flee. So yeah, that's one dead airplane right there.
I was so close. The B-38 almost overshot the Lightning, or the B-3, yeah.
Whoa, and the Strug that was in the north, well, he got brought down by cavalry scouts. I really thought that Strug was going to be a lot more impactful, but no. Instead, we're actually going to find that the WC-52 is still kind of wandering around, able to cause some issues for the Germans.
Yeah, and that M8 Scott is still alive. That's the same. That's the one that's been alive since the start of the match, correct?
That's exactly right. Now, we're also going to see a Panzer III being brought on in. Not an ideal position for him, but it's a command tank. It might give him a little bit of extra firepower that he needs up in the north.
Yeah, if he can just kill the Stuart Scott at this point, that's more than enough. Because that Scott needs to die.
Now, the Field Kanone in the south went down. So did, I think, a Pac 36 as well. So the Germans barely have anything in their southern flank. They're bringing up a Martyr right now. Also trying to bring in, actually, a second Martyr. As well as some infantry to kind of stave off this, again, big bulge in the center. And this is where the 4th Armor, I think, begins to roll forward.
Yep, they just got they just got the vehicles, man, and they're just pushing through. I mean, the Mortar 2, it can kill the vehicles, but I think the 76 Sherman's is going to get first shot, and it also has the veteran sheet to boot.
No, it actually looks like it's going to be a Martyr with the first shot, and an American, he goes right between the uprights there and takes him out. Now, this other Martyr 2 in the center part of the field is exchanging rounds with this armor rifles, pinning him down. That actually might clean up more of this bulge, and that would bring things closer to even. We still have Jabroni down by a couple hundred tickets here, but that gap is still continuing to close. And I'm actually kind of shocked, again, to see how little infantry there is in the northern side here for the Americans. It's pretty much all vehicles, it feels like.
Yeah, and it's working rather well for him, as he's just holding the open areas and forcing Light Rare to stay inside of his forest and not actually moving up. But
Play, Robin Hood to his sheriff kind of idea?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to go for. As the half-tracks are running around, keeping Robin Hood and his merry men inside a Sarwood forest. But this time it's in Bois de Lemurs and in northern France. And there's no Russell Crowe.
True. Or Errol Flynn for that matter. Let's go to the original one. Or even Kevin Costner. Okay, so this MGMC is getting super close here. He's not going to be able to pen, I would think, but that's not even going to be a concern. He gets taken out super quick. I was wondering if you could even manage to pen the side armor on that Panther 3. Wouldn't be easy, but
it's not really a matter of penetration. It's more of a matter of doing enough HE damage. Yeah, I just realized the Panther 3 has more rear armor and it does side armor.
Yeah, I just noticed that myself. I'm surprised that that's really the case. I mean,
how German engineering, Khan?
I wouldn't blame the Germans on this one. I just blame the game designers. I mean, historically, a lot of the tanks just had super light armor on the rear because honestly, you weren't expected to run away. You were there to fight.
Yeah, I mean, no. Hopefully, you're gonna face your front towards the enemy.
And if you're gonna retreat, then you retreat. Slowly going backwards. Now we did just see a Hellcat take out the southernmost. The second most southernmost Martyr 2, and ME-109 making a gun run to the south. I think we're seeing, another ME-109 coming on in after this lightning, perhaps.
Yep.
In either case, though, not again a very wise decision. We're going to see another one of the ME-109s go down, I would assume. No, he makes it out.
Yeah, the Flak 88 saved the ME-109. Yeah, the first one it is by getting the stun on the P-38 Lightning.
I'm actually supremely shocked by that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a snipe and a half, I have to admit.
Now, to the north is kind of funny. Now we see, 1, 2, 3 squads of Pioneers, 2 Fallschirmjägers, well, 1 barely alive there, 1 Ersatztruppen, and 1 lone officer. And against this particular setup that's here for the Americans, well, Scott. So the Scott's finally down. Great Scott, he has fallen.
Yeah, only took 28 minutes, I believe.
Yeah. Indeed.
Kill that 1 5 armored vehicle that has no armor penetration value.
Well, I was going to say, with that happening, though, now we are going to see an Axis positive ticket placement here. He might even go back to 50-50 right now, but that's still going to increase his lead a scant bit, and just when he needs it the most. Okay, also, Jabroni's going for these Rhinos in Phase C. How do you feel about going for the Rhinos as opposed to anything else?
Rhinos pretty good. I mean, it's a Sherman with Tiger armor if you really want to get into schematics or semantics, yeah. I can't bloody say the word.
Semantics or schematics?
Semantics, there we go. But they're pretty good. It's a regular Sherman with a bit of extra armor. Probably not going to save it from the mortars, but once again, Stuart spam. I cannot continue to describe how good Stuart spam is for the 4th Armored Division.
And how much it kind of frustrates us that he's not doing that?
Yeah, I can understand because you wouldn't really think about getting Stuarts, especially when you see you can't get any in A phase and you can only get them in B phase. You're like, why do you get a light tank in B phase? But just 2 Stuarts a minute.
And frankly, against forget the whole 90-foot Luftland being excellent against that particular group. But let's consider the fact too that Stuarts are, for a light tank, are as good as this P3 up here, and indeed almost as good as P4s on a general basis.
Yeah, and they have good fire support capability because they got the 3 machine guns, and they can fight P4s. If you have 2 Stuarts first run P4, you can just outgun it essentially.
True. True.
And you can
Quantity
get
over
20 of them.
quality.
You can get 20 Shurich in the 4th Armor Division if you really feel like you want to go crazy. To put it in perspective, it will take you 10 minutes to buy 20 Shurich from B to C phase. So I think that's pretty good bang for your buck.
True. True. And having good gosh, even if you just want to create a small motor pool in the background and kind of use it as a late. I'm serious. Use it as a late game armored kind of push to create that collected opportunity.
Especially once the enemy is reared down and they don't have as much on the flanks or in defensive units. Because it seems to be the case right now for Light Rain, where he must be running pretty low on infantry, and I haven't really seen any other anti-tank guns. It's just these Mortar 2s really holding the line.
Now, these B3s have had less and less of an impact here, and indeed this ME-109 being forced to fall back, well, the B3 is going to buy it because of that.
Yeah.
Which means he's got one more as a possibility?
Yeah, one, maybe two if he went really crazy, but usually standard loadout is 3 B3s.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the greatest of calls. Kind of wondering if that Flak 36 might not have been better, pushing him not in the middle part of the map, but either, well, putting him maybe further southerly to kind of prevent any kind of breakout here, as we were talking about, as you said, actually in the beginning of the game. With the 4th Armored, you could totally expect them to be aggressive in the south, but and I mean, and the entire game has kind of proven that out here. So I'm a little surprised to see that the Deadly 88 is so far north.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's trying to stop any push along that like forest road. But in hindsight, yeah, Flak 88 would have been pretty useful down south at the moment, because that M4 Rhino is now breaking through. There's really nothing to stop it at the moment. Maybe if the Faultschläger Fuhrer could get a Telemine kill on it, but well, not Telemine, hates the bloody magnet.
HHL3, it's a magnet mine.
Yeah.
A limpet grenade, I think, is one of the technical terms for it. I might be wrong.
And it's funny because the Germans made a lot of their tanks, especially in the mid-war, limpet mine resistance, anti-magnetic mine resistance. But the Allies actually never used magnetic mines themselves. It was just a precautionary measure. So if you ever see like I don't know, where the tank armor on the German tank looks very like
Plastic.
slotted. Yeah, in that sort of sense, that's the anti-telemine thing. Was it plastic that they used?
It was actually a composite steel that had an element of early plastics in it.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
it wasn't a 1-to-1 on it. I think it was something like 5 or 10% plastics, and it was almost like an outer sheen. So imagine a shellac of some sort.
Yeah, pretty much to stop the magnetic mine from being able to, magnetize on you.
True. Well, I mean, the French had a version of a magnet mine. The English had a version of a magnet mine, or the British, if you prefer. But no, the Americans really didn't go for it too much.
No. Just, why do you need magnetic mines when you got bazookas?
Oh, because the early bazookas are super underpowered, maybe? But, you know.
You know, they ended up fixing it. Better than a Piat.
Okay, so actually we have a 50 mil Pac 38 in the south. He's going to try to take out this Rhino, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Nope.
Bounce. And they're bouncing like crazy.
Even though the Pac 38 only has 1 AP less in a 57mm the Allies can get, I feel like it's much, much worse still.
Until the Rhino turns and presents its side, and there we go. So engine destroyed, fuel explosion. That's a casting curse, though. I mean, you malign the unit, and immediately what happens is that it does exactly what you don't want it to do.
Exactly. And those Pac 38s, I mean, I guess if you got 2 of them, you got a pretty good defensive location and a Stug 3G to help bolster out, but this is pretty even in terms of map control. Point rise, not so much. Light rare having that very nice 1000 compared to the 660 that Jabroni has.
Now, I'm wondering, the 50 mil, 50 mil takes out a Hellcat, and that's one more dead kitty, but, you know, there's what? 4th Armor's got 9 lives, I think, but it's actually more like 6 lives, I would guess, on most standards.
Yeah, you can get a lot of Hellcats, man.
Very true.
A lot of lives.
Very true, but how many of them are we really going to throw in, 9 Hellcats? We do have another one right here, actually, and another one coming in as well. So I guess the 4th one of the match coming on. And actually bringing in an M7. So that hideous 105 howitzer will be able to punch a hole in the southern approaches here. And actually, I'm expecting this cavalry scout to just throw a round into the Stug G.
Oh. Unless he gets spotted, and...
He got spotted. But he does take out the Pack 38 in the meantime.
That's something. At least he managed. Oh, now
Ooh.
oh, wow! I wasn't expecting that.
Close combat? No, okay, so he goes down, but he sells his life just as dearly as those Fallschirmjägers did in the north. And I do believe we are headed our way slowly towards a draw. We're not seeing any kind of major issue here, and I imagine it would take actually a major rupture of either line before we have a significant battle result.
Yeah, and on both sides, well, okay, really late Rad, I think, has really ran out of units. He's used a lot of Mortar 2s, he's bringing out some Panzer 3s, and he already lost 2 Stokes, which isn't exactly great. So I doubt that he can do some sort of offensive, as Americans just have some sort of vehicle, fire support vehicle mainly, all over this line to really stop any attacks.
Sounds about right. Now, the Flak 36 is making a bonsai charge during towards the front, and I can't say I completely understand what he's doing there. But interestingly, I wonder if Light Rare ran a couple of his airplanes at the anti-air blanket in the south, well, middle south at CGMC, he should be able to suppress that, I would think.
You mean get the anti-aircraft gun?
Yeah, that's a 37 mil on the back. Yeah,
Yeah,
37,
yeah,
and the
37 mil.
twin machine guns riding sidecar.
Yeah, you could probably kill it. Yeah, or I would want to suppress it first with artillery fire before actually charging the plane in. But maybe he can kill it with his Flak 88. Nah, that's way too far and it's not line of sight. I know it'd be a little bit risky because also all those vehicles or 50 cal vehicles prove to be quite deadly in terms of anti-aircraft.
Now, I might be wrong here, but I'm kind of offended by that you can't use a Flak 36 as an artillery piece. And I realize
Could you? Is that even possible? Because it shoots, shoots around rather high velocity, mate.
true, but gravity is a bitch. I mean, it will pull down shells at some point.
Yeah, but I think in terms of this game, the shell would come down much, much farther than the map actually extends to.
Less howitzer, more field gun? Yeah, probably true. Now, Stu 42 is going to find this half track out and going to blow up this poor guy from the rear. So not too surprising there. One warning shot, and I think one more shot's going to do him in. But no, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think Light Rare has nothing left. I think he's just gasping for that last little bit of territorial holding. I didn't even think you could bring this many Martyr 2s in a 91st Luftland deck. Good gosh,
He must have like 2 cards of 4.
Yep. He's been losing a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, he has been getting some rather good kills with the M2, so it haven't been completely in vain, but I know it's really the only one of the only proper tanks you can get yet in the Stug 3, and the Mortar 2 really being your only 1.2 kilometer ground option for vehicle.
But now actually a little bit upset that Jabroni's not being aggressive. He knows he's got to been taking out most of his opponents' AT, at least from an infantry sense. So at this point, just send your tanks through, man. You can see now one Fallschirmführer who's being engaged against these rifles. Other than that, you have to know that your opponent's got basically nothing left. Of course, as I say that, that's when an Abwehr comes on in. And we're seeing ME-109s, ground cover, and bit of a furball in this guy.
Yeah, I mean, the AA from the Allies is definitely going to help out, though it does lose one P-38. And like you said, it's pretty much only a minute left in the match. This is where you select everything, you attack, move the enemy spawn, and then you go get a cup, go get like a coffee, come back, and then see the match results.
Indeed. You know what? I want it to be a surprise to everybody, not just us, right?
Yeah.
But yes, so a Panzerschreck squad, excuse me, not Abwehr, but a Panzerschreck squad is on the field. But he's not going to be able to do a whole lot. He might get one rocket off at this WC-52, kind of marauding around, but no big surprise there. And it looks like the final score is going to be pretty close to bang on even.
Yeah, it's probably going to be... Oh, damn, that's going to be really close. Jabroni may just take it by
Like
a
5
little
tickets.
bit, but unless Light Rare can get that 1% extra ground. I mean, it's going to be a draw, but technically someone wins.
True. I think it might be us, though.
We win every match, Khan.
Well, you know what? When you have a 100% win rate, that's what keeps the people coming back. Don't know. It's not going to be a bang on
Oh
even
no.
game. That would have been fantastic to see that though. But no, looks like it's going to be Jabroni taking it by about 15 tickets here.
Yeah, but just a hair's length. Panda 3 or Pack 38 killed one of the Hellcats just in the far southern flank before the match is over. And good game.
And no more shots going to happen. All right, and that's going to be it. So final score 10-29 to 10-12.
Whoa, that's close in terms of kills too.
Very, very true.
That's a 155-point difference. That is very damn close.
I'm actually kind of surprised too to see no friendly fire from either side. I almost expected to see that.
Yeah, I saw it a lot in Wargame, especially Wargame casting. There's always friendly fire in some sort of sense, but good job, yeah, none of the friendly fire. That's
True.
I mean, you never know. Sometimes you call an artillery strike a little bit too short.
And that's one thing that I'm surprised we hadn't seen from either royal side is that we didn't really see any kind of off-map call-ins. I know there's not a ton of options necessarily for both. And indeed, I think 91st Luftland barely has any, but
Light Rare does have the 380 railway artillery.
true, true. And by the same token, the 4th Armored has that 105 off-map call-ins too, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's on the Sherman, like a
Mm-hmm.
Sherman that can call an off map, but nothing too crazy. Neither side really using the Atmos artillery. I mean, sure, one priest towards the end, but light rare, especially in that more like fielded map, more of those just guns or heavier Russian artillery pieces would have helped out to keep the American force at bay. Or
Very
more
true.
anti-tank in general. I think that's one of light rare's weaknesses, that he didn't get enough anti-tank guns to do, ambush assaults, because in that middle area of the map, you can just get some very good placements and some very good ambushes on those Shermans.
Very true. Now, actually, looking at both sides, I don't really see that many standouts. There is
No?
this one hero, Pack 38, who took out 2 Hellcats and a Rhino, and a WC-52 for that matter. But the 2 Hellcats and a Rhino, that's a pretty good set of pelts to hang up on your wall.
Yeah, that's a 55-point unit. Yeah, managed to kill over 300, almost 400 points worth of stuff. So, good play. Good play.
Other than that, though, not a whole lot. I mean, Fallschirmjäger squad did pretty well, but from the Allies as well, not that much surprising. I mean, Rhino a couple kills, Hellcat a couple kills. All in all, a surprisingly mild spread.
Yeah, even the Fallschirmjägers didn't really do that much, mainly because you're finding that northern forest area where you can't exactly take advantage of the range of the machine guns too much, as Ree Shaw. And anytime he used the Fallschirmjägers on the southern flank, he just gets suppressed by machine guns.
Sounds about right. Now, the last thing I do want to make a call out for, and this is just strange to me, is that if you look at the overall history, for this first 6 minutes,
Ooh.
there were only 3 kills.
Yeah, for the 4th Armored.
A shockingly peaceful game.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. I mean, it's really good for Luftland to play again. Quite a few kills early on, and he just set up a good defensive line, but it's hard to really attack with Luftland, especially on that map where you don't have a lot of tanks to really take advantage of that middle area, or a lot of crazy CQC guys such as Stern Pioneers or Stormtroopers to fight in that northern forest.
Very, very true. And
And
actually, you know what? Even though Jabroni won, I kind of feel like Light Rare was the real winner today.
He held well. He held really damn well.
Against a force he really shouldn't have been able to hold.
Yeah, once again, Jabroni just Stuart spam. It's the last time I'm gonna say in this video, I swear. But goddamn, Stuart spam for the 4th Armored is
Glorious. Glorious. You know what? I'll repeat it one more time just for you. Jabroni, Stewart spam, man.
Stuart spam. Anyone, Stuart spam. 4th Armored, do it. Just don't buy any other tanks in your tank slot. I'm not joking. Get the Abrams tank in A phase, and then all the other tanks in the tank slot to Stuart, and then you use Hellcats. That's all you do. You win. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but it works.
Sheer weight of numbers. That's how the Americans won most of the stuff they did in World War II. As an American, I'm sure someone's going to yell at me, but that's neither here nor there. In any case, Ryan, that about brings us to the end of our coverage today, doesn't it?
Yep, it does.
All right, so congratulations to both players for at least pulling out an official draw, but Jabroni, a slightly bit more congratulations.
Yep.
And that's going to be, well, I'm Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru. Take it easy.
Have a good night.